Hi, boys and girls. This is Mrs. Giuliano
And Isabella.
my granddaughter, and today we are going to prepare Chinese fried rice. Now, I had you watch a couple of videos the other day, okay? One was on how to boil rice. So I've already, not to bore you with that again, I've already prepared my rice. However, I'm making it for my family, and we're a family of 5, so I needed to make more. But this is what your rice would look like. And what I did was I made sure I read my bag to see what the serving size was and what the time was to cook the rice. Now, when you are buying rice at the store, depending on the brand that you buy, will depend on how long you need to cook something for. Depend on how long you have to cook something for. Sorry. Sometimes if you have taken the rice out of the bag, what you can do is just do 2 to 1. So if you're making 1 cup of rice, of dried rice, you're going to use 2 cups of water. And then I would cook it for 15 minutes. First bring the water to a boil, then I would simmer. Then once it comes to a boil, you put the flame down to a simmer, cover it 15 minutes, and then check it. All right. The way the rice cooks is with the steam, so you don't want to keep checking the rice. Okay. Now, I have the recipe is broken up into 2 days, and the reason it's done like that is because when we're in school, we can't do it all in one day. So the first day, we would cook the rice, and we would prepare our vegetables, chop them up. Okay. The word that I didn't like that the woman used on the carrot video was fast. Like, so you can chop this fast. You can do everything fast. Okay, you're just learning how to cook, and I don't want you to do anything fast. I want you to be careful. All right. Assistant, can you please get me the carrots in the refrigerator, please? Thank you. Okay, so I have a stick of celery here. Okay, and just to review quickly, all right, I had already washed off the leaves. I had taken off the leaves, and I took off the big stem at the end, okay? And so now I'm going to cut this. This is fairly wide, so I'm going to make 2 slices in it, and it'll give me 3 pieces of carrots, okay? And then when I cut, I'm going to make sure that my fingers stay away from the knife, and I'm going to cut fairly small pieces, all right? Very important when you're chopping and you're going to be using it in, in a recipe here, you want to make sure that your pieces are fairly even so that they cook evenly, especially in a stir fry, which is what we're going to be doing. All right, so that's basically what your celery should look like. Now, as far as the carrots go, let me just put this in a cup. For your carrots, I didn't have any carrots from the store that had the stems attached, so I'm using a carrot that I bought from the bag. Now, normally though, if I had to first peel the carrot, I would peel the skin off, cut the 2 sides off, the 2 ends, all right? Sometimes there's like a root growing, okay? And then I would just take this I'm going to cut into small circles. Whoops. And again, I'm going to try to make them as even as possible to the size of the carrots, because these are going to go in together, and they will take the longest to cook. This is going to be the longest part. Okay. All right. So that would have been day 1, making our rice, cutting up our vegetables. All right. Then what we do, we take the rice, and in order to get it that flavor and the consistency that you get at a Chinese food store, we're going to take the rice and we're going to put it onto a cookie sheet. Now on the cookie sheet, I have, come back for a second. Before I do that, I'm going to be adding oil into the pot, okay? And on this recipe calls for 2 tablespoons, but because I'm using a lot more rice, I have to put a little bit more oil in it. Okay, so I'm going to use this larger size spoon, and I'm going to put it in, and you're going to mix it up. Okay. And just for to show you quickly how to do this, we're going to put it onto the cookie, well actually this is called a jelly roll pan, okay? Difference between a jelly roll pan and a cookie sheet is that a jelly roll pan has 4 sides, where a cookie sheet has no sides, it's just flat. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this now, and I'm only going to demonstrate a little bit of it, and we're going to put this into the oven. I preheat. Oh, I'm sorry, the oven's not preheated yet. We need to have the oven preheated to 425, so we have to wait a couple of minutes. So I'm going to start the recipe in the meantime. Okay, so now I'm on to day 2. Day 2 is when we actually cook eggs, because I don't know whether you noticed it or not, but when you eat Chinese food, there are eggs in it. And we're going to stir fry the vegetables, and then we'll be ready to eat today, okay? If we were in school. So day 2, step 1 says to spray the wok. This is my wok. I'm not going to do that because I'm going to use oil instead, okay? Sometimes when I put the Pam into the wok, it makes it get a little sticky around here. So to avoid that, I'm just going to use oil. All right, so the recipe calls for a tablespoon of oil. All right, and what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to take my eggs. Now, once again, because I'm making more, I'm using more eggs. And when you crack an egg, okay, you're going to use the side, crack, and pop it open, okay? Then I take my one shell, put it into the other, so that way I don't make it leak all over the place. I'm going to put it down on a paper towel. Again. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to be scrambling my eggs. I'm going to heat the oil in the pot. It'll take maybe like 30 seconds to heat up. I just realized that. And again, like I said, this is a wok. Now, when I cook the eggs, okay, I'm going to scramble them up. All right, scrambling means you're going to break up the yolk. All right, and actually before I put them into the pot, I'm going to use a fork. It does say you can use a whisk or a fork, but when I'm only doing 2 or 3 eggs, I don't bother dirtying a whisk. Okay, so I'm going to break up the yolk and get this ready to throw into my hot oil. Be very careful, the fork that you use, make sure you immediately put it into the sink, and don't use that fork. Okay, that's how you get bacteria, cross-contamination. Okay, so now you can see the steam coming off. I'm going to pour the egg in, and you hear the sizzle. Okay, and now I'm going to scramble my eggs. Once again, I'm going to put this bowl in the sink. I don't want to use it for anything else. I'm going to keep moving the eggs off to the side. I may lower my flame a little bit. I don't want the eggs to burn. And this is going to happen rather quickly. And then I just want to also make sure, see, I'm scraping the side of the pot. And again, I keep adjusting the flame. When I first put it in, it was up on high, and I don't, again, want it to stick and burn. And I'm going to break up the egg, because I don't want big chunks in my food. Grab a dish to put that in. Okay, before I add any other ingredients, when that is done cooking, I'm going to take the eggs out so that they don't burn. Because if I leave them in here, they're going to start to burn as I start to have to cook the other ingredients. So now you see it's starting to form, but you'll notice that I'm breaking them up. Breaking up the pieces. Okay, so there we go. We have scrambled eggs. I'm going to shut that for a second. Move this into a paper plate. I'm going to to take that off the jet and move this off to the side. I will be using that in a few minutes. Okay, and now we're going to add, so now we just have completed step 1. You do not wash the pot because you want those flavors to be in there, but we do have to add more oil. So the recipe here calls for 1.5 tablespoons, but however, I'm going to, like again, I'm going to be using more. Heat the oil once again. And I'm going to then throw in my carrots and celery. Okay, and I can hear it sizzling. So we're going to throw those in. Okay. Now, this is what we do when we stir fry. We keep moving the vegetables around so that they cook. Stir frying is when you're cooking and with a quick, it's a quick method of frying, okay? We are not going to cook these vegetables till they're very soft. They should be a little bit on the al dente side, a little chewy, okay? Takes about 3 to 5 minutes to cook them. I'm just going to let that sit for a minute. Next, we'll be adding peas to our recipe. And my family happens to also enjoy corn, so I'm going to be putting some corn in that also. I kind of got this idea from when we've gone to hibachi restaurants and watched them cook. Some of the ingredients that they have added in. And that my family enjoyed, so that's where I was like, I think this would be a fun thing to make with my kids in school. And that's where that came from. Alright, that should be good. Next, we're going to add in the peas, frozen bag of peas. And my corn. Makes it very colorful. And we're going to cook those. I have to constantly watch my flame to make sure that it's not too hot. Okay. This doesn't take long to cook at all because the peas and corn, when you buy frozen peas or any type of frozen vegetable, they're pretty much already cooked. It's just a matter of heating them up. Heating it through. Okay. All right. After we do that, next we're going to put our rice back in. Now, we would normally wait for the rice to be baked and put it in. Okay. However, I've already done that with this rice. I just wanted to show you what to do. And now I'm going to add my rice back in. Let's see how much we need. Okay. All right. And also we're going to put back our fried egg. First, I'm going to stir this all together well. Whoops. Sometimes the things go popping. And now I'm going to put the egg in. Add the egg. Throw this plate out. Thank you. Let me switch over to my wooden spoon. Stir this up real well. Okay. Now that that's mixed together very well and nice and colorful, it's time to add in soy sauce. Now, soy sauce is really up to how much you like and how much you want. On the recipe that I give you, I put 3 tablespoons. However, you can add or subtract from that depending on how much your family likes. Okay. And now, a couple of extra things I like to add into my recipe, okay, was I like to add a little bit of garlic powder. Again, I'm just doing a sprinkle. Over the years, I've developed these different things that I can taste good, and a little bit of black pepper. I'm not going to add salt because salt was already added to the rice when I boiled it, so it's already has the salt added to it. Okay. And now, once again, if you prefer to add more soy sauce, you can do it now, or you can do it at your plate. I'm going to leave it at this because I don't want it to. If soy sauce does also adds a lot of salt to it, so I'm trying to keep back how much salt I'm adding. But there you go, one pot meal of fried rice. Hope you enjoyed my video. Bye-bye.